From Washington, this is VOA News. Coming up, the latest on the U.S. government shutdown and debt crisis, plus Kenyan troops serving with AMISOM in Somalia. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Norman. Topping the news, the U.S. House of Representatives has approved a last-minute compromise to reopen the U.S. federal government and raise the debt ceiling to avoid a potential debt default. Representatives approved the plan late Wednesday after it was approved by the Senate by a vote of 81 to 18. President Obama spoke just after the Senate vote.
Once this agreement arrives on my desk, I will sign it immediately. We'll begin reopening our government immediately. And we can begin to lift this cloud of uncertainty and unease from our businesses and from the American people.
The bill will keep the government running until at least January 15th and raise the borrowing limit enough to put off the risk of default until at least February the 7th. Also in the news, Egypt's foreign minister said Wednesday that relations between his country and the United States are, in his words, in turmoil following Washington's decision to suspend delivery of tanks, helicopters, and fighter jets to Egypt. The suspension announced last week came in response to the unrest in the wake of the July 3rd military coup that ousted Mohamed Morsi as president, Egypt's first freely elected president, and that led to the deaths of hundreds of people in police crackdowns. In an interview with the state-owned Al Haram newspaper, Nabil Fahmy said that there is unrest in relations between the two countries, warning that the strain could affect the whole Middle East region. President Obama said last week the U.S. decision to cut off military aid was meant as a warning that it no longer can be business as usual with Cairo. Members of the Kenyan Defense Force serving under the African Union Mission in Somalia, also known as AMISOM, last month ended their tour of duty and were being replaced by a new battalion to serve in the peacekeeping mission. The rotating soldiers have been in Somalia for more than a year, serving alongside African troops. AMISOM is made up of troops mainly from Kenya, Uganda, and Burundi. Ethiopia has also sent in soldiers, but they are not under the AMISOM command. The troops are mandated to support the Somali National Forces in the fight against the al-Qaeda-linked extremist group Al-Shabaab. Tens of thousands of people have fled their homes because of violence in the Central African Republic, according to the medical organization Doctors Without Borders. VOA's Gabe Joslow reports aid workers have witnessed executions and other atrocities as security deteriorates.
Doctors Without Borders, known by its French initials MSF, reports violence has flared this month in the northwestern CAR, where government forces are battling local armed groups. Many civilians have fled towns and villages for the forest, where they live without adequate shelter and with little access to food and water. The fighting has been taking place in areas under the control of government forces, comprised of soldiers who seized power in a March coup as part of the now disbanded Seleka rebel movement. Seleka has been unable to assert control over the country or even its own fighters, who are blamed for a wave of looting, killing, and violent attacks in the country's interior. Gabe Joslow, VOA News, Nairobi.
Head of the UN mission in Mali says recently security incidents there are an important wake-up call and urged the Security Council to enable the rapid deployment of additional troops and helicopters to the mission. Bert Kunders welcomed progress in Mali, including recent presidential elections and moves toward national reconciliation talks. Estimated 30 million people worldwide are living in modern-day slavery, according to an inaugural Global Slavery Index published today. The index, compiled by the Walk Free Foundation, said that while India by far had the largest number of enslaved people, The problem was also prevalent in the West African nation Mauritania, where 4% of the population are deemed to be held in slavery. Get more news at voanews.com.